time once again to slip into your camo, grab your bow, and join us out in the field for another episode of the Up North Journal, presented by PSE Archery. The Up North Journal crew is knocked and ready to rock for another exciting adventure, so let's step outside and hit the trail.
This episode of the Up North Journal podcast is brought to you by PSE Archery,
Deer Camp Coffee,
Buck Baits,
JPO Game Calls,
The Island Armory,
Hacker Max,
Sunrise Archery,
and C3 Better the Hunt Technology.
Welcome back to the Up North Journal podcast, everybody. Your host, Mike Adams. Once again, second take on this, trying, for those of you on the podcast, you had to watch the live to understand why. We're just going to leave it at that and let you guess. So, none other than Dan DeFaw sitting here in the cabin with me tonight.
A interesting evening. Rain, sun, rain again. But it is the last Wednesday of May, and we're heading into Memorial Weekend, so everybody be safe. We all want you to come back if you're heading somewhere.
Yeah, please do. I mean, there's just been too much stuff going on.
Right,
so,
exactly.
You want to get right into it here?
Let's get into it.
All right. Let me get caught up here. I'm still, behind a little bit. Okay, I'm ready.
You ready to go?
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Hey, everybody. Nothing like helping out the supporters of the show. Buck Baits. I tell you what, if you're thinking about deer season, you're thinking about some calls, you're thinking about, you got to get over to the brick and mortar store at 15 in Dodge Park. Go check out Deer Camp. They got Buck Baits there as well. Go check out buckbaits.com, and if you use the promo code UNJ20, you get 20% off your order. You can still work on those food plots at any time of the year, and what better way to finish off that food plot than with hackermax.com. And if you use the promo code UNJ25, you get $25 off your order at Hackermax. Give Lincoln a call. JPO Game Calls. We've had him on the show. We visited with him. He's got his stuff down at Deer Camp as well. You can check out all his calls there. If you go to the website, jpogamecalls.com, use the promo code UNJ10, you get 10% off your order. The Island Armory. I can't speak enough of these folks. Go check out their website. It's always changing their inventory. And if you're feeling like purchasing and you want 10% off your order, use the promo code UNJ10 at theislandarmory.com. And last but not least, you see us drinking it on the show. You see us at the camp, the brick and mortar store. Today we're having
Buckzilla Vanilla.
Buckzilla Vanilla. And if you go to deercampcoffee.com and use the promo code UNJ10, you can get 10% off your order there.
And while you're at it, try the Up North Journal Medium Roast Blend.
Right. And why not go, if you're in the UP, stop in Newberry, go to Cedars, where actually it's raining in Newberry and it's 51 degrees. Get a pizza and some Deer Camp coffee there as well.
There you go. I like it.
Right? Exactly.
Big shout out to FM 123 up there in Newberry that carries the show for us.
They're a neat little unit up there because I've seen them carrying other things, locally live events, which is kind of cool. Mm-hmm. So always good to check in on them. Big shout out to Adam Wynn. He posted a picture, and I noticed this traveling.
Hit that corner button in the upper right there so we can see it full.
There we go.
Here we go.
I noticed a lot of deer kills on the road, traveling the highways.
There has been a lot here in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, so big
They're
shout
active.
Big shout out to him for posting that he was out morel hunting. Not as good as Mr. Coleman, I guess.
No.
But he did come across this little guy all curled up. So if you see him, leave him alone, folks.
Very nice.
Exactly.
And Mr. Coleman said that he had a hard time distinguishing if Maverick up there was you or Maverick. Just saying.
Yeah.
It's gonna be one of those nights, folks. Yes, it is.
You know, buddy, old pal, remember.
What?
He's going to be sleeping at my house.
That's okay. Maybe he'll crop dust while he's there.
Maybe he'll be Sharpied.
He might get Sharpie too, yeah.
Right.
Sleep with one eye open, Mark's all I can tell you.
And that's a big note, as we start the show off. June 4th, folks, the whole Up North Journal crew is going to be together, actually. And Mark's going to come up from Indiana. Adam's going to come on over.
That could be dangerous.
Right. We're going to have the whole crew. We're going to be at the New Baltimore Trade Center for their outdoor show. There's going to be different vendors there. We're going to be there supporting Deer Camp. Buck Baits, Island Armory is going to be there.
We're in the head tonight.
So if you feel like doing a little bit of outdoor shopping, come on over. Check us out. We'll be there. No, you're not. Sorry, Mark. But come on out. Come see us. We're going to be there for a little while. The whole entire UNJ team. So you get to meet us all.
Whether you like to or not.
Right?
There you go.
You can talk with us, pick our brains, talk to somebody from Indiana about shroom hunting.
Or deer hunting.
Well, yeah. So.
And then you could talk to Tammy and to Adam about walleye fishing, and then we're going walleye fishing the next day.
Exactly.
So there you go.
So
it's all good.
It is all good. And, well, folks, as we talked about in the preview at 7 o'clock when I was on live, it's going to be kind of a smorgasbord show.
If you got anything tonight, throw it at us.
Throw it at us. We got a couple items that we got up. It seems that Michigan is going to have, they've outlined a mandatory deer check system. So we kind of want to touch on that. Right now, it was just presented to the NRC.
I'm going to call that up there.
It was a general outline given. It looks like what it'll be, the Cliff Notes version is, they will have to complete the online harvest report within 72 hours of harvesting their deer. This is a new approach to data collection. It'll combine the expedience of online and near real-time harvest reporting with the strength of a post-season harvest survey estimates with supporting statistical confidence intervals. Means their numbers are actually be more correct.
So say some people.
Right? So, with that being said, we know other states have had this for years. You were in Illinois when you got your doe, and you basically did it right.
It was a telecheck.
You were literally kneeled by the doe doing it, right?
Yeah, it was a telecheck system, which is much the same thing depending on if you've got internet service. So, other than that, I like it.
Yeah, so does Derek Vaughn. He's in here, and he says mandatory check was long overdue in his opinion. We all agree.
I've been beating that drum for a while now, especially since I had experience with it. That was back in 2012 in the state of Illinois. Now, to play devil's advocate, there are people that say it's not going to be as good as what we have. And the big rub is that people won't check their deer in. And it's like, those people are not going to check their deer in at a DNR check station. You know, I don't know how they equate for those numbers anyway. And I'm sure...
Well, that's a percentage that they probably...
Build in that,
hey...
And I think they're going to have to build it into this system
right,
as well.
You give a plus or minus of, like they do polls, right? You have a plus or minus, or maybe they'll throw a swag of 5% in that don't... We sold, 100,000 licenses, and we'll throw in 5% aren't going to, whatever they come up with.
Mark Coleman, he says 48 hours in Indiana. And actually, I forgot. I have used Indiana's as well. Same thing. Did it on my phone right after I shot my doe. So it was super easy.
Mark, if you could, in a short term, explain, do you think 48 hours is enough time, too much time, or little time? Not enough time. That's kind of...
Kevin Craven, the DNR, let the old system go down harder to check deer and ask for less detail when I took deer. It's very very funny you say that, Kevin, because the same thing happened to me when I checked my buck in this year. I was hoping that I'd be able to find the check station open. It was opening day, and I did. Actually, I found it open. I think it was the same day I think it was on opening day when I took it and went home. I don't think I stayed in another camp. Anyway, pulled in, drove up. What do you want to do with it? I want to check it in. What do you mean, what do I want to do with it?
That's why I'm here.
You think I'm going to dance with it in a parking lot? I mean,
right?
It just, and there's 4 of them standing there. So one guy hands me the patch. He walks away. Okay. The other guy, well, no, I mean, are you going to mount it? I said, I'm going to do a Euro mount on it. Actually, it's still in the freezer. I haven't done that yet. But I said, no, you can go ahead and cut the mouth on it, the lip.
Yep.
And he goes, no, we were going to take the head. And I'm like, no. He says, you want it aged then, I take it? Well, if I said, yeah, you can cut the lip, that's what I want. I want to know how old the buck is, and they kind of looked at, 2.5, 3.5-year-old buck. They just weren't real interested. And I said, do you want the area that I shot it in? No, we've got all we need for the area already. No worries.
Really?
It's the middle of the day on the first day, and you've already got your allotment for that area. It's in the middle of the TB zone, for goodness sakes.
So
they looked in the chest cavity, see, no TB.
I'm sorry. And I want to give out, before I go on my take, I want to give a shout out to Kevin Craven. Your DNR, your pictures look good. And if you got time and you're not up north, come on over and you can meet the whole UNJ crew at the same time, and we will all take a picture with you, Kevin.
I thought you and I have had our picture taken with him.
Of course,
right?
that's but now we can get with the whole crew.
Okay, gotcha.
It'll be more impressive for him.
He can get the important people.
Exactly. But anyways, okay, not gonna lie. Isn't it like customer service? Your first impression. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm bringing my deer to you. Do you think they could be a little bit more happier?
Well, yeah, they don't know me from anybody, you know?
Right. And same as you, we checked ours in coming home, and we're like, okay, first check station we're open, we're stopping because we've gotten burned with that.
Right.
And mine was a little different. Mine, they were a little bit, as soon as they saw the tag, they got a little bit more interested.
You're right.
And they were like, because the guy's like, what's this? I'm like, well, that's why we're here.
Right. We want some information.
Right. And he goes, well, I got to do some digging. And lo and behold, it was part of the study that was in the area, and that's when they tagged it back in 2013. But like you said, you got so turned off by the way that you were treated, and it's like, I'm here to help you.
Yeah. I'm trying to do my part.
Right. So do you think this new system online will be better?
I think it'll be better in the fact that, well, it depends on what information they ask for. And that's the thing that I'm really okay. Ranger Rick, okay. Thanks, Tammy. Good comment. But yeah, it goes back to the fact that I would like a little information to help them out, or give them information to help them out. But it depends on what they're going to ask in the survey. And from what Chad Stewart, who's one of the guys at the DNR, reported on his Facebook page, they're going to be able to really hone in and get some good, data. Well, I would like more information, and they're going to tell us that, in the upcoming months as to how they're going to, cipher their information, what they're going to ask for. Hopefully,
right. And he goes on to say that much more information will follow in the coming months, obviously, but there will be some really cool, interesting data coming out through this deer season.
Yeah, those are his words. So,
and truthfully, besides having a more up to date day by day tally.
Is that if they give that out? I'm really hoping they do that too.
Well, I'm sure if they got quotas in that,
It'd
hoping
be really nice with this brand new system if they had the state of Michigan map and you can click on the county that you want to look at and it'll give you a real time total.
Well, as we were getting ready for the show, folks, we were going to talk about this subject, and we're like, okay, we found the article by Chad Stewart. Yep, here it is.
Yep.
Now let's go find it on the DNR website.
Their new website,
right? And
new and improved.
I think it took us a good
5 minutes.
5 minutes each of clicking, scrolling, click. What? It should not be that easy, and I hope they change that for the upcoming year. Or that hard, and I hope for the upcoming year that they give you something that you can just, like one link and go to it.
It better be front and center.
Right, exactly. And it better be a tab about the size of your phone screen.
Yeah.
Right? Hit here.
Yeah.
There you go.
Because here's the other argument, and the other fly in the ointment for people who do not want this system, is that we've got our elderly hunters, or our old school hunters that, have a hard enough time using a cell phone as it is, like my dad. But, as tech savvy as I am, and I feel like I got a pretty good handle on it. It took Danny and I both about 5 minutes of both of us working to figure out where this was at.
Right, and
it was not very prominent at all.
No, it wasn't. So Kevin Craven says, and you'll remember this, back in the day, check stations, I-75 back in the day, he would also take deer to the Algonac State Park. St. Clair County had one place, the Kanoki Trading Post. I remember... they still have it at the bridge when I come across. Now it's open. I think, Kevin, they've really cut back on these check stations, which kind of, I don't know if now going to this telecheck is going to be, actually it's an online check. I don't know if you'd call it a telecheck because you're going online to do this. That's another point I want to make. But as you go forward from this, like you said, first of all, you got to make it a little bit simpler.
Yep. You got to be front and center, click on a site, or... heaven forbid, we got to teach some of these older gentlemen how to use these phones, but give them a QR code right on your license. Scan the QR code, bang, it pops up, takes you right to it. To me, that would make a lot of sense.
And what are they? QR codes are not that hard.
No, you point your phone to it, and it knows what it is, and it grabs it.
For the state to make one and have it printed on is not that hard.
Easy. Have it
but
right
then
on
again,
license.
we've asked for this for how many years, and that was hard.
There
right?
you go. Yeah.
So, anyways, as we how are we doing on time?
We can ramble for a minute if you want.
Okay.
What do you got?
Well, we were looking online on our computers. I'm in the UP, and
Cell service.
My cell service can be sketchy at best.
At best.
Sometimes I can only do texting. Sometimes I can take a call. Now, if I go to where you were sitting, it's probably about one of the best spots on the property.
Yeah, because I was online.
So that would literally,
Yeah, I was
that would
posting
have
on
to be my phone booth.
Yeah.
To go there, get online,
Yeah.
frog through the website, so I could do that.
Yeah.
Instead of calling a phone number.
Yeah.
Because I don't see that there's a phone number.
You know, good point, Tammy. Tammy says that not every cell phone can read a QR code, though. That's true, but it would make it easier for most of those that can. It's just another tool to get people to the place they need to be. So it's just it would be a very inexpensive way for them to make it easier for a lot of people.
Well, okay, so first, cell service, navigation, and Mark Coleman even brings one up here. It says it's in Indiana, you're now required to have an email to provide to log into the site. And he's like, I can't remember stuff like that. You know, he says he's old.
Oh, basically having an account.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, see, here in the state of Michigan, you have to have that account already set up to actually buy a license online.
Right. And I think, and hopefully I'll have to do it this year, and we'll see how easy it is. Check back. But you know, when you go do that, I got it right here. You're going to provide your license number. And then fill out the information once you start going through it.
Yeah, I was going to try to go through and see what they were asking, but actually, because it was last year's license,
Yeah.
I didn't want to check a deer in.
No,
from
don't do
last
that.
year's license.
Well, you'll get a phone call.
Yeah, they'll be knocking on the door.
But you know, it's just one of those things. I literally think they could provide a QR code. Mm-hmm. But I hope they make it simple. That's all I can.
Yeah.
So far, the 20 minutes we've been into this and reading this, it's a little cumbersome.
Okay, so let me ask you this: do you have a problem with the 72 hours, or do you think it should be 24? Do you think it should be 48? What do you think?
Okay, so do you want to go to a break and then we'll come back and talk about that?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, let's do that.
All right, we step outside, take our first break. We'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has reinvented the way you buy bows.
From now on, you can make the most educated decision possible.
By basing your bow choice specifically on your shooting needs and goals.
All you need to do is ask yourself, what kind of shooter am I? What do I want to achieve?
PSE will help find the right category for you.
So, what kind of shooter are you?
Find out at psearchery.com.
All right. So when we went to break, we talked about mandatory deer check here in the state of Michigan. We may implement it this year. I asked you a question about what you thought about the timeline, but Tammy had come up with an idea, perhaps take a photo, be able to text it to a designated number that would work. One time it would have a timestamp on it, be compliant and attempting. That's another way, another idea. So my question is, we're getting ideas here just by us talking about it. Did the DNR take the time to bring in people from all different areas of hunting, young, old, seasoned hunters, to come up with like a brainstorming idea of how to make this work and come up with ideas that would make people more compliant? They give them a couple options versus a bunch of DNR people sitting around going, well, I think this is the best. I think this, but yeah, we'll go with these 2 or 3 and we'll call it good.
I think you're going to get an answer from them, yes. From the general public, no. That's how I'm going to read this, because here's the gig. I'm pretty sure they had it open for discussion at public hearings, or and then like this was just presented.
I don't think I beg to differ.
So
I don't think
do you think they used the surveys that they sent out in the last few years?
Nah,
I don't remember any questions.
I don't remember any questions like that.
Okay,
because here's my thought on this. We know enough people in the industry that go to these DNR meetings and open forums for them to give their public comment. This would have come out sooner if that had been there.
Kind of like let them go, let them grow conversations they had with DNR.
Yeah, yep.
Right? So, like you said, I think, because when was your Illinois?
2012.
Okay. 10 years now. And other states have had this, and it took us, and we probably were talking about that long before, that there could be a different system. And all of a sudden now we're going to do it. And here's the thing. I hope after the June, I think this is going to go into the June meeting, they better get on the advertising bandwagon.
And promote this.
And promote it in a good way. Don't come out, hey guys, we got a mandatory check. Because if you do this sleight of hand, then people are going to get really suspicious.
Absolutely.
They're going to be like, wait, I didn't hear anything about it. Right. Just like kind of what we're doing right now, right? You asked, nobody asked me.
Yeah, did you hear about it?
Right.
When you walked in the door today, have you heard about this?
Nope.
I saw Chad's post, whatever day it was.
Right, and I probably saw it too, but but let's talk about it on the show. And look how much trouble we were getting into the program. And the funny thing is about this is, great, you get all the data you want. That's fine. But how do you take that data and use it to your advantage? Mm-hmm. Okay, Dr. Deer, we've seen him do it, can take how many deer do they usually take? 25?
Well, that time period that we're there, but they try to usually take somewhere around 40 to 80.
Okay, anyways, he can sit there, do what he needs to do, and figure out when the deer were bred and the whole 9 yards. Okay, that's another way. But here, taking this data that's live action, what are they going to do with it?
Yeah.
Because we should be going to January 1st, except in some areas that kind of go into...
You read my mind, Mark. I was getting ready to
January.
go there.
So we will definitely try to do that. And so, I don't know. I'm just hoping this is not a perceived sleight of hand by the DNR.
There's going to be people that are skeptical.
I
mean, if you go look at Chad's post, there's a lot of people on there that are poo-pooing it already, don't want anything to do with it, finding faults in it, and it's not even, the plan hasn't even been put out there in place yet for everybody to see. So
right.
So now let's go to the question I was going to ask about the implementation of the time frame, 72 hours.
Okay, so
for the first year.
So here in Michigan, the first year they're saying 72 years or 72 hours.
Yeah, 72 years.
I know, right? And Mr. Coleman said they have
48.
48, and he doesn't like it. He thinks it's too much time. He would rather say 24 or 36. Mm-hmm. All right, what do you want to say?
Me personally?
Yes.
Just because I know how cell service works in this state, in some of the remote places that people hunt, some of the places I've been, I think 48 hours is fair. Everybody says, well, I don't want to leave deer camp. We got to come out and check our tags in and blah, blah, blah. Wait till the day's hunt's done. You get everybody in your vehicle. If you get a lot of snow, you get in your four-wheel drive that you got to get out in to get home anyway. Get up to wherever you get cell service, pass the phone around, let everybody check their deer in. That evening or the next day. Let's say we open on a Saturday. Okay, Saturday morning is the glorious 15th of November in the state of Michigan, 7 a.m. ish. It sounds like a war zone. Okay, you don't want to break camp on the very first day because everybody's having barley pops and they're doing their thing. I understand that. So 24 hours now, I wouldn't want people driving up and down the road in my camp as well either. That's a discussion for another time. We've had that before.
Right.
But, the next day being Sunday, if you're going to hunt the whole week, on a Sunday evening, you eat dinner, sun's down, you make that drive out, get cell service, everybody plugs it in, and gets done with it.
And I know there's going to be some, and this is probably more towards the fewer side of some, when you tell me that, we've hiked in to deer camp off the grid, we've been there the week. I think you're going to, and I think that's part of your swag number, right? As long as eventually you get it put in.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a really gray area. I know it is, because I can see it in the UP where there's guys that canoe in or whatever they do back.
Yeah, they go in deep.
They go in deep, and they're not coming out just for that, and I get it. So I think overall, done right, promoted right, it could be a win for the DNR.
It could be. It very well could be, especially if they knock it out of the park the first year and they get good compliance out of it. And they take the data and they're open and honest. They say, here's the data we got and here's what we'd like to do with it. What do you guys think?
And then in real time, literally, what people can see or not see is how per county they're doing. Mm-hmm. Like everybody talked about the Northwest 12, being kind of the framework for wanting the rest of the state, but nobody kind of like, well, no, but yet over by you, it's a little bit different, and it's like, well, okay, hold on. In real time now, this is the numbers. Don't skew them. Straight up, bucks, does, when, where, and how, right? Mm-hmm. So they used to, so I I just hope they do it right. What's
Kevin Craven here. Great point, Kevin. This is exactly one way I felt as well. They used to break down the deer where the deer were killed down to the section that you hunted in. And we're talking like a township section, which there's 36 sections in a township. It's a square mile. So you knew how many deer were taken in a square mile area. The DNR did, okay? And he enjoyed checking his deer in, giving them as much info as possible. Successful hunter patch was a great bonus for checking the system, and they let the system go to hell. Yeah, true. But yeah, as well. I mean, and I was like, yeah, right there, that's my section, right there. Because we got 2 sections on our property, and I'm like, yeah, right. That's the section I was in.
They pull out the plat book, and we're right there. There's my intersection, right there.
Then you tell them the story. You get to see other people bring deer in. That's the part I'm going to miss. I'm going to miss talking with the biologists. I'm going to miss talking with the other hunters coming in and listening to stories. And I hope, I really hope they continue and they'll mail that patch out when you check your deer in.
Well, okay,
or give you a way to get that patch.
I'm hoping they don't give up on the patch.
Because if they do, I'm going to be pissed.
Well, it's one of those things, like Kevin said, the patch was a great bonus. But to a person, anybody.
This is last year?
Yeah, that's the 100-year one, right?
Yep, I got my two deer last year.
You
2005.
Back in the day, you used to sew them on your hunting jackets, or you'd sew them wherever.
You got all yours?
Yeah.
I started collecting these. I would actually go on and buy these whenever I could to fill in the ones that I didn't have.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know you could buy them.
I've got one replica.
Okay.
Because I wasn't, because if you're trying to really collect these for what they are, be very careful because the older ones in Michigan in the 70s, there's replicas out there.
Oh, gotcha. But
I've got most of them.
You know what? We've talked about this on the show when we've done shows at Cabela's or where we've ever been, but giving this to a youngster and having them talk about this,
it's like you give them a golden candy bar.
Exactly. It's like the golden ticket from Willy Wonka. It's
yeah.
like, we had that little kid that was talking to us about bear hunting and stuff,
yep.
And imagine giving him a patch or somehow giving him the recognition in this way, a patch that you're right.
Mm-hmm.
They can't do away with it. Yeah. I'm afraid they will because they'll come up with some excuse.
Man, I hope not.
But don't tell me it's money concerns because you got a lot of money coming in for CWD.
Yeah. Yep.
Millions. But
I should not say this, but the NWTF, the turkey patches here for the state of Michigan, you get $5 and they give you one. You don't have to even kill a turkey. If they would do that, if you say, okay, you have the option, give us $5, we'll give you. I would do it.
Yep, I buy 4 tags or 4 turkey patches every year.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since you started taking me, and I found out I could do that,
mm-hmm.
I've been doing that, and I buy 4 a year. They're now $6 each.
Mm-hmm.
So this year was $24.
Yep.
I gladly buy them, have them sent to me. And they actually made that easier this year. It's awesome. You're right, Kevin. Just another thing the DNR screwed up.
Mark Coleman, you design it.
You design it, Mr. Coleman.
We'll see what we can do.
We'll see what we can do. But I don't know about a pre-printed certified harvest form for those hunting off the grid. That's a good idea, Mark. It'd be an interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's something that's a gray area that they're going to have to work through because I know that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I didn't know. That's why this promotional thing, I hate to say it, but like buying a license, maybe that you got to give out a sheet with it.
Yeah, something. Kevin Craven says he's been checking deer since 76. Do you have all the patches, Kevin? Do you save all your patches? My first one was 1979. No, not 79. I take that back. 1982. 82. It was the round orange and brown patch. 82 was the first one.
Also, about that time thing, I'm still concerned about it being in the remote areas being online. If I can get cell service, at least a telecheck number, you can get a phone call, would be...
that's going to be a good question to ask if we ever get to talk to somebody from the DNR. I mean, I'll ask an officer straight up. And I kind of think what it's going to be, because what's going to happen, if they run it like other states do, you get a confirmation number. And if you've got a paper tag, like in Illinois, I had to write that confirmation number on that tag. So if you ever got stopped, they'd look at your tag, they'd punch you into the system and make sure that that number matches what they gave you. And say it was like a check and balance system. With Indiana, I don't remember. Mark Coleman, if give us some insight on this, but I think all I did was call in and that was it.
Okay, they didn't give you a number back?
No, I don't think so. I can't remember.
Because some states even institute something like this for turkey season.
Yes, where you have to check. Here in the state of Michigan, elk mandatory, bobcat mandatory, bear mandatory. Those three are and now deer's going to be mandatory.
Deer fall.
Yeah. Otter's another one mandatory.
So what's going to stop us from saying let's do turkey? Give us and I don't know if we're going to get a number back. I don't know. It doesn't say if we're going to get a number back to write. I don't think we are.
They haven't given out the whole system the way it's going to work.
Right.
So my question is, okay, so you check your deer, and obviously we don't know how this is going to all shake out yet. You do it, your thing online on your phone, whether it's a laptop, whatever. You're done. You got your hunting license. What do you do now? Do you still do the old peel and stick and tie it onto the deer, or what's going to be the process if you're stopped with your deer in a vehicle and the DNR goes, I'm going to pull this guy out. He's got a deer. I want to make sure he checked it in.
So here's my yes. You're going to have to tag it because exactly that. Whether you're pulled over by a DNR
big shout out, my dad's watching,
or checked, they will run your number and they will be able to correlate.
Check the system. Yeah.
They will be able to correlate immediately. Have you checked that deer in, and when did you check it in?
Mark says down in Indiana, processors require confirmation number before taking your deer.
Okay.
Does the processor call that in, or do you have to give them the number that you were given? I don't. Like I said, I process my own deer down there because we can't bring deer parts. Back into the state of Michigan.
That's the other part of it, right? Is for that instance, there
had to be all deboned.
It's got to be deboned. The head's got to be clean, no brain matter. And then you bring that across. I'm assuming if Michigan were to pull you over, then they could call Indiana and say, hey. Is this legit? So here in Michigan, I think it's going to be the same way. They'll be able to check it out and then go from there.
Mark says that Indiana requires temporary transportation tag at minimum on the carcass. Prefer the confirmation number to be on there as well. Okay, so that transportation tag, is that something you print off and you write your confirmation number on it? See, I printed my tag out. I bought my license online for the state of Indiana, and that's what I had. That was
all paper.
It was paper. It was just a piece of paper, and I carried that with me. I printed 2 of them in case I lost one.
Right. I get that.
And I had that with me when I came home. But I don't remember getting maybe I did get a confirmation. I just don't remember. That was 3 years ago, 2019, I think.
Right. So it'll be interesting. I'm hoping after June, when I'm pretty sure that's when they're going to vote on all this to confirm it, because that's usually the meeting, because they need to get everything put into place before
they put it in the book.
Put it in the book before everybody starts buying their licenses, and then I hope at that point maybe we can get somebody on the show. We'll try to get a hold of the DNR once it becomes legit that's the way they're going to do it. We'll get somebody on, because if you do it right now, they're not going to be able to talk.
Right.
They can't say anything until it's voted to be okayed. So I hope I always refer back to the best campaign Michigan ever had was the Pure Michigan campaign.
Absolutely. Tim Allen.
I'm telling you.
Everybody knows that voice.
Exactly. Why not
get him to do it?
Get him to do it to say, hey, everybody, Pure Michigan is checking your deer in.
Oh.
If not, I'll do it.
Oh, Lord.
I will do the promotion. You can pay me like they pay Tim Allen. I'll do it for a third of his cost.
There you go.
But I'm hoping that this just works like we've all hoped that Michigan would go to, and they do it right.
Yeah,
I don't know how to say it.
I like the fact that they're implementing it this year. They're going to require it, but if you don't do it, they're not going to smoke you on it. So
that's an interesting take by Mark Coleman. What you have to do? You have to print the temporary transportation tag. Requires standard info, name, address, date, time. What if you don't have a printer? You're like me.
Yeah, you're in the UP.
I'm coming back from the UP, and I'm going to go. Hey, I got to get to the processor that I'm going to by 5 o'clock.
Do you put it on your phone and tie your phone to the carcass?
Right.
What if you got more than one deer? Do you tie it to 2 legs?
Tie the legs together, put the phone. I don't know. It's just one of those things that, in a perfect world, print it out, blah blah blah, or maybe
you pre-print kill tags.
And then you can write on as you get the number.
Must be on the carcass before putting in a vehicle.
So that's a kill tag.
Mm-hmm.
And goes step back to where Tammy was saying, hey, take a photo of it and everything.
Okay.
You better make sure that tag's visible. That's all I have to say.
Let's back the train up, okay? Let's go down this whole road a little bit again. Okay, so I buy my tag. In the state of Indiana, I had a paper tag, right? Yep. I can print off all these.
You can print them off like postcards.
Kill tags, right?
Right.
who's to say you've hit your limit? I mean, if you put a kill tag on and you put it on and they see you going down the road, they're not going to stop you. I'm saying that's a way to circumvent the system unless you physically get stopped and they start digging in and checking said stuff.
That's if they see you with it.
Right.
In the back of a pickup.
A poacher's a poacher is always going to
Well, not even poaching. It's laying down in the back of my pickup truck.
True.
And you don't see it. And I have things over to protect it or whatever. It's just, like you said, I've got one. Hey, thanks, Mike. You got one too, and they can get out of hand.
Well, here in the state of Michigan, right now, we've got kill tags. Our license is our kill tag, our carcass tag, so to speak. I don't see why they should stop that. That should be your tag. As long as you've got one of those in your hand, it's valid. And then once you call it in and have it checked, we're talking about a check versus legally transporting home. It's two different things.
Yep.
But still, I think the kill tag that we've got now in place, the plastic sticky back one, and you fold it over on a piece of string, wire, whatever, tie it to the deer, and notch it out. I think it's the same thing because it's got all your personal information on it, and they can scan it.
Right. And he says pre-print sheets of them prior to hunting camp.
Yeah.
So basically, you fill in the information that you got after checking it in, and that becomes your kill tag. In Michigan, we've got it pre-printed, you notch it out, and then that becomes your transportation tag.
Right.
So now I don't know, maybe they're going to add the number, and you have to write the number on the license, which I think would be great. Mark Coleman says, always carrying a writing device. Mark, as famous as you're going to be, you should always carry a Sharpie. You're going to be signing autographs left and right.
Danny does. And a stack of 8x10 glossies,
right?
too.
So
you think I'm kidding. People, he's got them.
Right? So, but I'm actually kind of, the more I think about this, the more I'm upbeat about it. I'm just worried that they're not going to be able to, I just hope they do it right. I don't know how to say it, and use the data to our advantage. Prove that the Northwest 12 is actually a good thing.
Yeah.
We see I've seen the data that says, yeah, it already is a good thing, but nobody believes it.
I want to see, like, points on there. When you check it in, okay, how many points on the left, how many points on the right? I don't know how they could do age class. Yeah, it's got to be silver Sharpie. Absolutely, Tammy.
My guess is that it's going to be exactly what you see on your kill tag.
Yeah.
Month, day, right, left.
There's got to be a little more
male,
than that, though.
Female.
There's got to be more information.
Well, I'm pretty sure they'll probably go into what county, and then literally that's probably about as general as they could be. Because I don't think a lot of people are going to know their section numbers or their...
No.
If maybe, what else could you ask for besides the legit?
Well,
like for me, Iron County.
You could ask some. Is there any visible signs of disease? Is there, does it have TB? Any visible signs of TB? Is there any visible signs of CWD? If you know how to age a deer, can you give us an approximate age?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to go there.
I don't either. On a doe, was the doe wet? As far as milk, had it lactated that year, so would it give an indication of breeding?
That's an easy one.
But are people going to do that?
That's
Probably
why I
not.
think they have to. I think with this system, two things. One, keep it simple.
To start out with.
And then educate them.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, we're going to add this question next year.
Yeah.
2023, we're going to ask, and this is how you do it. Here's a sheet.
Yeah.
If you shot a doe, is she milking? This is how you check. Please. This is what we want to know. These are all questions that they use when you stop at a check station, too. They'll ask you. But I just hope they do it right. I'm kind of getting excited for it. I'd like to, hopefully in August, September, we hopefully can get somebody from the DNR to come on and talk about it and just kind of give us a tutorial.
We've asked many times before to have people from the DNR speak on certain things, and they will not do it.
No, they don't.
It would be a great PR campaign if they go on to shows like ours and others and talk, but they will not do it.
I think if we get confirmation that this is a go again, I think I'm just going to reach out to Chad Stewart and say, hey, who can we get on the show?
Yeah, right.
This isn't a hit piece that we're going to...
No, we're trying to promote it.
We want to know more about it. Give us the 101s about it. Give us the Cliff Notes, good version of why we're going this way. Mark, that might be a tough one, too. How big it was. The weighing your deer, not everybody does that. I don't think everybody has the capability to do that. I know we got a scale.
Yeah,
we got a scale.
Yeah.
I know when you take them to the processor, I think they'll scale them for you. I'm trying to remember. But yeah, that's a tough one to do that in the field. So, like I said, simple, keep it simple, make it easy, and go from there. And then see how this year does. They did it last year. And
I didn't know they did it last year. You told me that, and I'm like, there was an online check. He found it, and that's when we found the whole thing.
Right, and they're showing a 21 license, and it's like, wait a minute.
Does anybody that's out there that's listened to the show, and if you're listening on a podcast, message us back and let us know. Have you seen an online check form from the state of Michigan for deer? Because I have never seen that.
Right, exactly. So it's like...
And it may be because they don't have the 2022 licenses printed out yet. Maybe that's why we're seeing 2021.
All they need... Okay, so I'm going to be the computer goofball.
You can change that pretty quick.
Yeah, that's an easy... You can Photoshop in 2022. You can, but yeah, so I hope this is the right direction. I know to get Lincoln Roan's opinion of this would be kind of fun. Because everything he went through with the let him go, let him grow thing was interesting to watch from the way we did and see how that all developed and where we thought it was going, where it didn't go. It was just crazy. But
I'm willing to give them benefit of the doubt.
Absolutely.
Thinking they're trying to do something good here. Let's see how it comes out in the wash, and we'll go from there.
I wish if this was put in the last upgrade of the system, I wish they would have promoted that. Hey guys, hey sportsmen, we're upgrading our system because we're going to have mandatory deer checks coming up.
Yeah. Stay tuned.
Start to.
But I tell you what,
people.
Overall, the way they've redone the website, I don't like it. Can't find a thing.
Well,
it's tough to navigate.
The new website, which we're just starting to look, we looked at today because it wasn't like it was like that this afternoon. But yeah, they got it.
It needs some work.
Cleaner look, but it's got to be a little bit more simpler. They got to go back to the pictures.
Yeah,
a deer, a turkey, a bear.
Yeah, right.
So,
all right. Well, I'll tell you what. We've talked in this segment here for almost half hour, so we're gonna have to cut the next two segments here pretty quick. So,
well, when we come back, we can talk about Adam Wynn.
There we go. We'll step outside, take our next break. We'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has always dominated the speed category. Now, the most revolutionary cam system ever to hit the market has perfected the shooting experience. Introducing PSE's Evolve Cam System, featuring extremely high let-off capabilities and the smoothest draw cycle in history. No other cam system has ever delivered this level of total comfort and total control. Experience PSE. Experience performance.
We're back. I shut you up real quick.
Right?
I didn't allow him to talk during the commercial break.
I know, right? So, Adam Wynn. And I get this problem. I would get my deer checked, but there's none really close to me.
That's a common problem. And the ones that there are out there, they didn't man very well, or they weren't open in the appropriate times.
So, one year, I live in Fenton. I brought my deer home, and I'm like, where am I going to check this thing in? And I had to go to Southfield.
Yeah, that surprised me.
Right? And I'm like, the year or two later, I got a deer, brought it home. The Holly
station
checks them. Mm-hmm. I'm like, really?
You got a drop
awesome.
box.
No.
They got doe heads.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
They used to.
I went over there, and she checked it in, and it was awesome. But I get where Adam comes in because, like, everybody in Southeast Michigan run into this problem.
Yeah.
It's like, you
not many places to go.
Like Kevin, he'd go to Algonac.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can go to Holly. Southfield. Even when I went to Southfield, the guy's like, you brought this deer all the way from the UP?
Mm-hmm.
I live here.
Right.
So.
Well, I'd pass 3 on the way home. And 9 times out of 10, they're all closed. All 3 of them.
That's another story that I figure it's the one time out of the year that you're looking to gather all your data that you really want.
Man them.
12 hours a day is not
out of the stations.
When you're at work or I'm at work and they say, hey guys, you got to stay late because we really got to get this done.
You stay.
There you go.
Do you want to work? You stay. Not do you want to work, guys. Asking the question, they're telling you, do you want to work? They're telling you you're going to work.
Right. You're right. Job. Adam, the closest one to you will be that Holly wreck.
So when you go over there, just stop in and Danny will provide lunch for you.
Okay, I'm feeding people now.
It's right in his back door.
Right. Does Michigan have any special permissions for youth, seniors, military vets, disabled for licenses or hunts or harvest limits? We have certain. We got them all. We've got
there's
the
hunts for all of them.
military vet disabled hunt in September, Liberty Weekend.
Yeah, there's discounts for veterans and military and seniors, and there's a price break as well for youth.
Right.
So yes.
So yes, they do take care of that. And they also got a youth weekend, which that's a whole another debate if you want to go into that one. So yes, they do that. That's, you're right, Adam Wynn, last weekend for Turkey.
So get out there and get it done.
Right. And their hours are funky too. It's pretty much office hours, I do believe.
9 to 5.
Yeah.
If you're lucky. And don't go during lunch.
Didn't Richardson's Meat Processing have one?
No.
Okay, so yes and no. They did if she was there. When I went there, she was there. Another time I went there, she wasn't there. So I think it's like, depending on if it's maybe the weekend, she's there.
Oh, a DNR officer?
DNR officer checking them in as you came in. So Richardson's Meat is one of the bigger ones that they were hanging out at. So I've seen them yes and no there. And I think it had to do with what day of the week it was.
Right.
You know, if it was a Saturday and like people were coming in, yeah, they'd be there.
Okay.
I totally get that. You're right, Mark Coleman. 100% agreed to be open, period. Yeah.
Actually, Terry, great point. You should get the college students to man the stations, and there were a lot of college biologists at those check stations.
They used to have the Michigan State. What's that division? They're all from Michigan State, pretty much. They would send them out to each
MSU Extension Office.
Yes, and they would send them out, and they would help help the biologists with the writing of them, and they would help teach them.
Yep.
So yeah, definitely they did do that. But again, they should. That's part of the. Okay, so that is part of the younger generation dealing with people. Mm-hmm. This is how you deal with an irate hunter who's checking in his deer and he sees something he doesn't like and he's going to let you have it because you guys screwed up.
Because you got DNR written right here, or on your back.
And I've seen that, and they'll tell you about the wolves, and you'll hear everything.
They'll tell you everything that they've encountered in the woods for the last 50 years.
Right. So all we can do is hope, see how this works out, and maybe in August, September, we'll see if we can't find somebody to talk more about this, and then go from there.
Okay. Let's shift gears a little bit.
Yeah.
Actually, Adam just said something here that made me think about switching gears. He said he finally got out on the kayak yesterday. Felt good to be on the water again. And, that's what I'm going to be doing this coming weekend, starting tomorrow, the next 5 days. Getting out on the water, getting the kayaks out, taking the boats up. So with that, talking about why we hunt, fish, why we like the outdoors, why are we bloodthirsty killers?
So why are you bringing this up?
I watched a movie on Netflix last night or night before last. Steve Rinella, something about the stars, and it was basically an 9-minute long movie, and he talked to different people across all walks of society about hunting. Should it be allowed? Should it not be allowed? What do you think about it? You know, all the way from vegans to people who hunt, and the different reasons of why and how we feel. And the reasons he did ask these questions is how we're perceived and how do we react when people come at us or ask us questions. What are the answers we give? And he was giving his side of what he thought about it. It was good. Actually, it was very insightful.
It's one of those things that in your office setting,
we come up with this all the time.
Exactly. And whether you're in an office or you're out in the field or you're somewhere in public, you start talking. 1 year, I had a guy across the room doing a turkey call. Mm-hmm. So I brought my turkey call, and we were going back at, obviously we started talking, and you just how you're perceived by the other people. You know, it wasn't bad. I've never gotten the yell in your face type situation.
I've got people who have newfound respect for what I do, the way I do it, the way I perceive it, or go after it, the way I interact with nature. And I mean, we've talked about this a lot, you and I, especially here on the show in the last 10 years.
Right.
That for me, it's not about the kill. It's not about that bloodthirst. A lot of people at work saw me as that until I really started talking about it, and they'd ask questions, and more like, oh, really? Wow, I didn't know that. It is more about the care of the animals than anything. And they're like, well, if you care so much for animals, how can you put a bullet in them? And I'm like, it's part of it, but there's also that other side that there is that sorrowful side of it. It's not remorse. I feel empathy for the animal. I feel that in order to sustain life, we have to take life. That's the way nature is. That's the way it works. Something has to die for something to live, whether it's plant-based or whether it's animal-based.
Right. And that's one of the things that when we have this discussion, people, and it seems like lately people are kind of sometimes on the mindset that if you don't like what they do, they're going to badger you, they're going to belittle
ban
you, whatever. Pick your method that they want to use.
Cancel you.
And well, that's the term, right? Because you don't agree with how they see things. Now, I remember you had somebody, I think you were goose hunting.
Mm-hmm.
And you had somebody,
I know exactly what hunt you're talking about.
You had somebody come out and confront you about that.
Yeah.
But you were perfectly in the legal rights of doing everything.
Mm-hmm.
But yet that person wanted to come out and talk to you about it and confront you about it. Not sure I would do that when knowing that these people got guns, but that's another story.
I should dig that video out.
Right, you should. What's the other? Up in Saginaw. I can't remember who it was, but they always got the cops called up, and they were just scanning fields for birds. You know?
Yep.
And all they were doing is just looking around, and all of a sudden, here comes the sheriff. Somebody calls. We're like, what?
Yep.
But to go after somebody to the point where you're going to degrade them, you're going to belittle them because you don't, and you'll find out that hunters really don't get into that aspect of it. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, you can't put some same hunters in the same room because we can't play in the same sandbox.
Yeah, because we will pick up our toys and throw them at each other, then go home.
Right.
We call each other names.
Right.
We're our own worst enemy.
Exactly. We do more, and that's part of the education.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of what it is when you talk to other people, is you educate them.
Mm-hmm.
Do I kill them?
Yep. Yeah, I do.
Do I feel sorry for them? Empathy? Yep, I do. But that might be one deer, one turkey, whatever. I said, but there's a bunch more that I just fed. I planted crops for them, and they're feeding and eating, and they're happy.
Yeah, and when you keep the checks and balances in the right proportion, the carrying capacity where it needs to be, you're actually to help keep disease and starvation and other factors out of the herd. It can be a detriment. It's you have a healthier, more vibrant herd, and you have a more healthy and vibrant habitat for them to live in.
Right,
well.
And then what you don't want to see ever is if it's conserved correctly and done right, you won't have that big winter kill on a bad winter. Yeah. You're going to have it, guaranteed. The week will go, but they become food, but yet you will help Mother Nature not get into that really mean kill.
Yeah, right.
And, winter kill is part of nature. That's all it is. But if you can help those numbers, bring it down so you've got more sustainable habitat.
More food source,
more
therefore.
Food service. Because we know that they eat 5 pounds a day.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And you take a look at what we've learned with
Every
Dr.
day.
Deer, and you just want to go and you teach these people that whether you're sitting out on a stand for 8 hours watching squirrels, deer, bear, whatever, the kill is down to a minute minute. That's before that and after that is the whole story.
Yeah, you make it as quick and hopefully as painless as possible. And that's the dilemma, and that's the one thing that people have a hard time getting over is the fact that you're taking life, And the people I have a real problem with are the people that want to badger me or ridicule me for taking game, and then they'll sit there and they'll eat meat, and I'm like, well, you're just a hunter by proxy. And first time I said that to a girl I work with,
she's like, "What?"
Her panties got in a bunch real quick.
Well, that's
and I'm like, you just have somebody else do your killing for you. And I said, not only that, I said you're killing domesticated animals on top of that.
What's the thing we always talk about? Wild turkey. They're not your butterball.
Yeah.
Right. You look at a butterball,
yeah.
And you look at a wild turkey. Yes. Yeah. When they're take all those feathers away and you put them side by side, you'll be go, what is that thing?
Yeah.
Right? So, you're right, Mark. Freedom, harmony with nature, peace of mind, self-sustainment, herd control, provide for the family. Yeah, you could go on forever. Absolutely. But the point is education to the unknown. And the one thing as I always, if it comes to it, I'll be like, well, have you ever tried it? Mm-hmm. Some will say, well, I don't think I could do it. Then that's fine. That's your prerogative. I said, but don't knock it until you've tried it.
Yep.
Other people, they might not have the means to have tried it, so they didn't know. Mm-hmm. And then but once they tried it, they're like, Okay, it's not bad.
That batch of deer sausage you and I had made. I took a stick of that to work one day. People started asking, "What do you?" So it's deer or summer sausage. Is that deer? And I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "You gonna try it?" Well, I don't know. Cut a piece here, try it. Oh, it's pretty good. It's like you don't know what you're missing until you try it.
Exactly.
And I always try to try something once before I turn my nose up at it. I might have a predisposition to what I think it is, or what it's going to taste like, but I always try to try it. If I can't stand the smell of it, I'm not going to eat it. I can tell you that right now because I can't stomach it.
Okay, no, that's fair because some it's like ooh,
certain smells,
right?
Mother
Nature is more cruel than hunting and doing habitat conservation by getting the meat you eat. Exactly.
Absolutely,
Mother Nature is cruel.
Yeah,
good, bad, or indifferent. She knows how to take care of her own, and she does it in ways that you might not like it. And so we're here to ease Mother Nature's burden and provide for our families and others. There's people that go out, shoot deer, and they donate them.
Yeah,
hundreds of pounds given to the food banks. To the I know when DNR usually pick up illegal deer or something, they'll have a number that they're calling to see.
They'll donate it to a family or to a food pantry.
Right, exactly.
In going back to the movie again, the one thing, and I was really pleased to see that he put in this, was how modern conservation really got started with Teddy Roosevelt. When he went out to the plains and he went out there to go on a hunt, he wanted to be the big hunter, and he shot a buffalo, and he said that, he did a happy dance around the buffalo. The first one he ever killed. And then they took care of that one, then they went and they shot another one. And that one he had remorse for because he looked around and he said, everybody else is doing this too. And that is when the epiphany came to him to have conservation of our game species. Because that's when the market hunters were out there and people were out there just shooting indiscriminately and just killing everything they could get their hands on. And they were shipping a lot of meat back to the East Coast for the markets and the market hunters. And
the pelts and everything.
Yeah, we lost so many game species, or nearly lost. And it was modern conservation and hunting license and us hunters who actually have brought most of these species back to flourish.
Right.
So that's our dollars.
Well, you want to talk about conservation. Here in the United States, usually you shoot the animal, you gut it, and you leave the entrails out.
Yeah.
Well, in Africa,
the whole village takes all of it.
When you shoot one, like Dave Wilkins says, they just kind of all show up.
With their pots and pans.
Right? And
they take everything.
Everything is used. And what's not used, you wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
He said it's very little what's not used. And but the whole village is thankful for that animal.
Yeah.
And obviously you're there, you're going to get your trophy, whatever. But nothing is allowed. You will taste some of the meat back at the camp. They'll be glad to cook it. You're not going to bring it back here. But yeah, that's conservation. 100. I mean, you can see all the complaints about shooting an elephant or anything, but once that animal is down, I mean, it provides so much more to those people in that area that it's just incredible. And here we've taken turkey, we brought them back. Whitetails, we brought them back. Elk, we brought them back.
Bison, a little bit.
So
wolves.
Why do you hunt? I think you're right, Mark Coleman. It goes back for us as you develop in hunting, and as Mike and I did this kind of. It's education, right? It's getting to the point where, like, if I shoot one, it's okay. But if I have somebody that's younger or maybe a new hunter
passing it on
is shooting one, I'm more happy for them. Kind of like what we went through with Gabby, right?
Yeah, right.
Seeing her get hers and just that whole weekend was awesome. And just, it was made for a great weekend. And she learned that much more. But educating anybody that'll listen. So when you come up against somebody, have that confrontation, but do it in an educating way.
We're, whether you like it or not, we're all descendants in one way or another of great hunters. Because that's the people who survived before we became a farming and agricultural people.
Right, and that's another part of it, Tammy. Is the incomes that they make through the hunters and fishermen, and we've had this on the show. We've talked about this. The money they make from all those that provide into the system that is returned back through programs and whatnot.
Once again, hunters paying the way. So the one thing that he said that kind of stuck in my mind And people, back started this kind of anti-hunting movement where, like, you figure in the 60s and 70s and progressed into the 80s and 90s, environmentalists. And in the hunting world, that kind of took on a negative connotation, in a sense, with the hunting public.
Yep.
And, and Stephen Nellis, he went through his thought process, and he said, well, I do that, and I do that, and I do that, and I do that, but I hunt. He said, so really, the only thing that separates me from an environmentalist is I pull a trigger, and take my game. He said, and that's where the term conservationist came in.
Right, exactly.
So it's basically the same thing.
My brother, his comment is, for over 48 years, the deer he's taken, probably the first, the 20 minutes, but all the others would total less than 2 minutes to make the kill.
Yeah.
So in 48 years, you figure how much that time is spent killing.
Yeah.
That we're there, right?
Yep.
Well, take for instance, you shooting your doe last year, right? You were reading your book, you're out in nature, and you look up, and here comes a deer, and okay, take care of it, shoot it, and okay, that was over.
It ran 60 yards, and it took all of a couple seconds for that to happen, and it was dispatched at that point. Hey, right. Mr. Denny Steiner, what is going on?
Right, but Tom, you're right. Hunting with friends and family are the best. There's no doubt about it. Great show, fellas. Part 2 next week.
Maybe.
I think next week we're going to have some reports of Mike kayaking on the west side of the state.
Yeah. I guess, I tell you what. Let's stop that right there. Let's take our last break because we've only got a few minutes left. Yeah. I want to come back because that's where I was going to go with tying something in.
All right.
So step outside, take our last break. We'll be right back after this.
Acceleration is part of PSE's DNA. PSE pioneered the speed movement. Now they've developed the vapor category to help you find the most powerful bows on the market to fit you.
High speed equates to intense power and building the momentum you need to be successful. Are you a vapor shooter? Find out at psearchery.com.
All right, last segment of the show. Been a long show tonight. I think we ran a little over, but we kind of got into some things there philosophically and dug in deep. When we started talking about why we hunt, why we fish, why we love the outdoors, I've kind of turned a little bit in my thought process in the last couple of years. Everybody knows I went through the Big D, and my whole life changed. It was kind of turned around. I was kind of a mess for a while.
And that wasn't D for Detroit.
No. I've been to Detroit, but
yeah.
Anyway, I've kind of steered a little bit in a different direction. I still hunt. I still love to fish. I still love to get in the outdoors. But the thing that brings me an extreme amount of joy now, not only the person I'm with, Nancy, but the fact that I'm on the water a lot. It's something that I've always wanted to do. I canoed a little bit, and the times that I've had in the boat, my later teenage years, I lived on the water.
Okay.
With my mom and my dad. And it's just something that's kind of always been beckoning, calling me. But I really love to go to the places that are extremely remote. I'm talking way, way back in the middle of nowhere, and go for long stretches on the river to where, if you get in trouble, you're screwed.
Right.
So there's it's something primal about it. There's something deep down that kind of takes you back to maybe our forefathers. I don't know. It's just something about adventure and exploring, and I think that's part of hunting and fishing as well. It's like, what's over the next hill? What's around the next bend? Is that deer going to come here? You see a fish jump, can I get that fish? It's the challenge.
That like fishing, right? You're fishing over here, and the fish is jumping over there, and you're like, well, I'm in the wrong spot. Mm-hmm. But like you said, it's the joy that you get from doing something that you love and with somebody that you love.
It's a quest.
It's the quest for being outdoors. Like, thank you, Tammy. Uncle Henry's never been on the river on a kayak.
Oh,
you should try it.
You got to go with us. You got to go with us.
Like you said, for me, it's at the cabin, having that cup of coffee on the front porch, listening to
absolutely
zero, except birds, and you just...
The thing we do, when we hit the water, we launch from wherever we're at. When we hit the water, we get in the water, both of us, and we're paddling.
Nancy starts eating snacks, right?
No. Pretty quick, but not the first thing. We take 2 or 3 paddles, and I put my paddle on my shoulder like that, and I sit, and I just tilt back. And I look over like, you hear that? And she goes, I love it. Absolutely nothing.
Right?
You know, it's the peace, the solitude. It's that moment. But like I said, it's that quest of not knowing what you're getting yourself into.
Well, it's what's up around the riverbed.
Yeah.
Right?
Or over that next hill that you're when you're stalking.
Exactly. You just, and we're, that's part of being in the outdoors, and that's part of the education that people, don't know that you've done.
Yeah.
Well, you just go out there and you kill it. You just go out and do. Well, no, wait.
Mm-hmm.
Have you sat out there? Have you sat and listened to what's going on, or have you seen and looked at animals playing, or whatever they might be doing? It's just.
Have you ever butchered the meat that you've got on your dinner plate? Have you grown the vegetables that you're about to eat on your dinner plate? Those types of things.
Well, and like Mark Coleman said, that even a vegetable garden requires disturbing the natural environment to grow them.
Absolutely. Yep.
So
something must die in order for something else to live. It's
right?
the cycle of life. Have y'all ever not watched Disney?
Yeah, watch The Lion King.
Come on now.
See what happens when the hyenas take over?
That's right.
But
there is a joke there.
Yes, there is. But
we're amongst friends.
That's why, watching Steve Rinella do what he does, you got to put it into a good light, in an educating light, because I feel that the preconceived notions that you're a killer, you have no remorse, you have no nothing, and it's about as far from the truth as. And to me, those are your poacher types.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the people that are the bad apples. That
there's bad apples in all parts of society.
Exactly.
Thank you. Whether it's in our law enforcement division, whether it's in our military, whether it's in our schools, whether it's in our workplace, there's bad apples everywhere.
Right.
And the thing is you got to be the good in order to combat the evil. And I'm speaking along lines of this week.
Yep, exactly.
I've been preaching that all week. We've got to stand up as good people and fight against evil. And it's there. We just got to do it.
Yep.
So,
but
keep preaching the good word about the outdoors and how it sustains people, the good that comes out of it, how we help the animals, and we like to eat them too.
Yep, they taste good with garlic and butter.
So,
salt and butter.
I think that's all I got this week, man.
Yep. No, I'm good with that. Remember, folks, next week we'll probably be talking about our weekend. Hopefully it's successful. Denny Steiner's always loved deer hunting.
Poke a hole in it, peel it, need it. Amen, brother.
Right? But, we'll be on next week, so make sure y'all have a safe weekend so you can come back and see us next week.
That's right. If you're traveling, be safe out there. We want to keep people in Gaylord in our thoughts. Those people, like I said at the beginning of the show, took a hard hit this week with the tornado up there, impacted that area deeply, and we're definitely heartfelt about the people in Texas for what's going on right now. So just be one of the good people and fight the evil.
There you go.
So join us next weekend. Next weekend in
next weekend, New Baltimore Trade Center, 10 o'clock. I'm not sure what time it goes to. Join us with Island Armory, Deer Camp, and Uncle Henry.
There you go. We'll be back again next Wednesday, same bat time, same bat channel, 7:30. We'll be here, Facebook. Y'all take care.
This episode was brought to you by
PSC Archery,
Deer Camp Coffee,
Buck Baits,
JPO Game Calls,
The Island Armory,
Hacker Max,
Sunrise Archery,
and C3 Better the Hunt Technology.
Thanks for listening, and join us again here next week. Until then, remember, as we always like to say, if you're out on the water or in the woods, shoot straight and be safe until next week on the Up North Journal.